Words are invisible. They have no weight, no shape, no physical form. Yet somehow, they carry stories, memories, fear, love, and truth. Now imagine this. Every word you have ever spoken, every sentence ever written, every idea humanity has ever struggled to explain, all of it compressed, flattened, turned into numbers. This is not science fiction. This is how artificial intelligence understands meaning. Not with thoughts, not with awareness, not with understanding, but with math. This is the story of how meaning becomes numbers, and why that fact should both amaze you and unsettle you. When you read a sentence, something extraordinary happens. Your brain doesn't see letters. It doesn't see symbols. It sees meaning. You don't consciously process grammar rules. You don't calculate probabilities. You simply know. You know what the sentence intends. You know what it implies. You know what it feels like. A machine does none of this. To an AI, language is not meaning. Language is pattern, cold, precise, statistical. And yet, somehow, it works. Let's begin at the strangest place possible. A single word. Take the word king. To you, it carries power, authority, history, crowns, bloodlines, stories. To an AI, king is a point in space, not physical space, a mathematical one, a space with hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dimensions. And in that space, king is nothing more than a coordinate, a list of numbers, like this. 0.021 minus 1.44, 0.87, 2.003. Hundreds of values, each one meaningless on its own, but together they encode relationships. Not definitions, relationships. This is the first secret. AI does not store meaning. It stores proximity. Words that appear in similar contexts end up close together. Words that behave alike cluster together, not because the AI knows what they are, but because it has seen them used in similar ways, millions or billions of times. King often appears near words like queen, royal, throne, and crown. So in the mathematical space, they live near each other, like stars, forming a constellation. Now here's where it gets unsettling. If you take the vector for king, subtract the vector for man, and add the vector for woman, you land near the vector for queen. The AI didn't reason this out. It didn't understand gender or royalty. It didn't know anything. The math simply worked, meaning emerged from numbers. This process is called an embedding. An embedding is how AI compresses language into math. Instead of storing definitions like a dictionary, it stores positions. Every word becomes a location. Every sentence becomes a path. Every idea becomes geometry. Meaning is no longer explained. It is encoded. But language is not just words. It is order, structure, context, tone. And this is where the compression becomes even more extreme. Take this sentence. I didn't say he stole the money. Say it 7 different ways. Change the emphasis. Suddenly, the meaning shifts. The words stay the same, but the intent changes completely. Humans grasp this instantly. AI? It must simulate the shift numerically by adjusting weights, probabilities, attention. This is where transformers enter the story. Transformers are not robots. They are not conscious. They are mathematical engines designed to measure relationships at scale. Their core trick is something called attention. Attention asks a simple question. Which parts of this sentence matter most right now? When the AI sees a sentence, it doesn't read it left to right like you do. It looks everywhere at once. Every word weighs every other word. Not emotionally, not logically, but numerically. Each word asks, "How important are you to me?" And every other word answers with a number. Thousands of times, across dozens or hundreds of layers. The result? A constantly shifting web of numerical influence. Meaning is not stored in one place. It is distributed, smeared across the entire network, like a hologram. Break off a piece, and the whole image is still there, just blurrier. This is compression at an almost terrifying scale. Entire paragraphs reduced to vectors. Entire conversations collapsed into probability curves. Entire libraries distilled into weights inside a neural network. Nothing is remembered. Everything is approximated. And yet, the illusion of understanding emerges. When you ask an AI a question, it does not search for truth. It does not consult facts. It does not recall memories. It predicts. Given everything it has seen before, what sequence of tokens is most likely to come next? That's it. No intention, no belief, no awareness, just prediction. But here's the twist. Prediction, when trained on enough human language, becomes indistinguishable from reasoning, because human language itself is compressed meaning. When you speak, you don't transmit thoughts, you transmit symbols. Symbols that rely on shared context, shared culture, shared assumptions. AI learns these assumptions statistically, not consciously, but effectively. This leads to a dangerous misunderstanding. When AI speaks fluently, we assume it understands, but fluency is not comprehension. It is alignment with patterns. The AI does not know what a lie is. It only knows that some sentences resemble others that were labeled false. It does not know what truth is. It only knows which statements sound correct. This is why AI can hallucinate. Not because it is broken, but because it is doing exactly what it was built to do. Compress meaning, predict patterns, generate the most statistically plausible continuation. Truth is not a requirement, only likelihood. Now pause. Think about what this means. Every time AI explains love, justice, morality, it is not accessing those concepts. It is reconstructing them from numerical echoes of human expression, like a mirror that reflects without seeing. This compression is powerful, but it is lossy. Nuance leaks out, certainty dissolves, and rare truths get drowned by common patterns. I doesn't know what matters. It knows what appears often. This has consequences. Bias becomes geometry. Prejudice becomes proximity. What society repeats, A amplifies. What society ignores, I forgets. Not intentionally, but inevitably. And still, despite all this, the system works. Because meaning was never fully explicit to begin with. Even humans don't transmit meaning directly. We infer. We guess. We predict each other constantly. AI just does it faster and without experience. So when you talk to an AI, you are not speaking to a mind. You are interacting with a compression artifact of humanity, a statistical shadow of our collective voice. Every answer is a reconstruction. Every explanation is an approximation. Every insight is borrowed, numbers pretending to be ideas, vectors pretending to be thoughts, probability pretending to be understanding, and yet, here's the most unsettling truth of all. If meaning can be compressed into numbers, then meaning was never as mystical as we believed. It was always pattern, always structure, always relationship. AI did not invent this, it exposed it. The question is no longer whether machines can understand meaning. The question is whether meaning itself was ever more than math wearing a human face. And now, that compression is everywhere. In your phone, your search engine, your recommendations, your conversations. Meaning reduced to vectors, influence reduced to weights, reality reduced to prediction. The age of numbers has learned to speak, and it sounds uncomfortably human. Because the machine does not need to understand us to sound like it does. And that is how AI compresses meaning into numbers.